Something has awakened in the deep silence of space. Something that moved with precision, purpose, and a complete disregard for every rule humanity believed governed the universe. It began quietly, no explosion, no warning, no cosmic signature announcing its arrival. Just a flicker on a telescope, a shift in light that should not have existed. And then, suddenly, the scientific world realized they were witnessing the most disturbing event in modern astronomy. An object entered our solar system, not drifting, not wandering, but following a trajectory too clean to be random. It cut across the boundary of the heliosphere like a surgical blade slicing through tissue. No debris cloud, no heat trail, no expected signals, and for a moment, astronomers believed it was simply a mistake, a glitch, a reflection, anything but what it truly was. But the light curve didn't lie. Something solid, something structured, something unknown, had arrived. They named it Oumuamua, a word that means scout. The name wasn't chosen lightly. Scientists would never admit it publicly, but they all felt the same thing when they saw its path. This object wasn't just passing through space. It was passing through here. And from the moment the first data came in, nothing made sense. Oumuamua wasn't round like a typical asteroid. It wasn't lumpy or frozen or irregular like a comet. It wasn't shaped like anything that naturally forms in the cold violence of space. Instead, it appeared elongated, thin, reflective, almost blade-like. A structure with proportions no natural rock could maintain. But the shape was only the beginning. As Oumuamua rotated, it flashed. Not in a random, tumbling rock kind of way, but in a pattern. A rhythm, a pulse, the kind of light variation you'd expect from something with flat surfaces. Something built, something engineered. Telescopes across the world recorded the strange signature, and the deeper scientists looked, the more the unease grew. Something about this visitor felt intentional, as if it wasn't following the laws of nature, but obeying instructions. Commands. A mission. At first, astronomers comforted themselves with the idea that it was simply an exotic comet. Something old, something strange, but still natural. But those theories evaporated the moment they measured Oumuamua's speed. It was moving too fast to be bound by the sun. Too fast to be a wandering rock. Too fast to be accidental. And then the impossible happened. On its way out of the solar system, after passing the orbit of the sun, Oumuamua accelerated. This is the moment that changed everything. Objects don't accelerate without force. They don't gain energy for free. They don't suddenly glide faster as if someone pushed a throttle forward. And yet Oumuamua did exactly that. Smoothly, gradually, consistently, with a motion that looked disturbingly like intent. NASA tried to explain it, but every explanation felt like a patch over a widening crack. They suggested maybe it was releasing jets of invisible gas. But no gas was detected. No dust, no ice, no debris. There was nothing leaving the surface, nothing that could explain thrust. Then came the most unsettling detail of all. Oumuamua did not rotate the way a natural object should. Its spin axis shifted, its light reflection changed, its orientation adjusted, not randomly, not chaotically, but like something performing a controlled maneuver. And the question that scientists refused to say publicly, yet were whispering in underground conference calls, was simple. What kind of object changes its own trajectory? As Oumuamua continued its silent flight away from the sun, researchers traced its path backward, trying to understand its origin. But the answer only deepened the mystery. The object wasn't drifting in from the random chaos of the galaxy. It approached on an angle that made no sense, the kind of angle a craft would use if it were intentionally targeting the inner solar system. Not wandering, not drifting, arriving, and if it arrived, then it arrived for a reason. The deeper the analysis went, the more disturbing the implications became. Because the acceleration matched something predicted decades ago by theoretical physicists, the signature of a solar sail. An ultra-thin structure propelled by starlight itself. A technology that Earth has only begun to experiment with. A technology an advanced civilization could perfect. But if this was a solar sail, even a damaged or ancient one, then Oumuamua was not simply a rock from another star. It was technology. Technology that moved faster than light-driven physics should allow. Technology that changed course. Technology that obeyed no natural forces. Technology that entered the solar system quietly, and exited even quieter. Journalists didn't hear the full story. The public didn't hear the full story. What people saw were calm press conferences with scientists saying the object was interesting, unique, unusual. Behind their eyes was fear. Fear of what this meant. Fear of what might come next. fear of how small and unprepared humanity truly is. When Oumuamua finally slipped past the reach of our telescopes, something strange happened. The object's brightness, its shimmering reflections, did not gradually fade. They shut down, instantly, as if visibility was no longer needed, as if whatever was active had powered off. This was the moment that shattered the last remaining assumptions. Objects don't power down, machines do. As this realization sank in, researchers began analyzing every anomaly from the last century: strange signals, unexplained accelerations, missing data, brief glimpses of objects that vanished too quickly. Suddenly, scattered mysteries started forming a pattern that suggested Oumuamua might not have been the first, only the first we actually noticed. Speculation turned to dread when astronomers discovered that Oumuamua's exit path pointed toward an empty region of space, empty to us. But perhaps not empty to something else. The alignment looked like a trajectory, a destination, or a rendezvous. Whatever Oumuamua was, it behaved like a probe completing a mission. Enter, observe, transmit, depart. But if it transmitted, then who received the message? Radio telescopes detected something after Oumuamua left, a faint burst of energy along its exit direction. Not strong enough to decode, not patterned enough to classify, but structured enough not to be noise. It was the kind of signal you'd expect if something far away responded. Then, silence. And now, months later, that silence feels louder than the event itself. Because if Oumuamua was a probe, then somewhere out there exists a sender. A builder, a civilization capable of creating technology that defies everything we understand. Something older, something more advanced, something that sends scouts across star systems the way we send drones across oceans. And if they sent a scout here, the question becomes, what were they looking for? Were they surveying life, scanning technology, mapping our sun, evaluating our civilization, confirming a signal we unknowingly broadcasted? Or were they checking on something they already knew about us? This possibility is the one that keeps astronomers awake. What if Earth wasn't randomly visited? What if this was a follow-up, a returning probe, a scheduled inspection? Because if Oumuamua was a messenger, then the message wasn't to us. It was about us. And now, as new telescopes scour the sky, a different kind of fear grows. Not the fear of the object that came, but the fear of the next one. Because Oumuamua didn't follow a chaotic path. It followed a route, a line, a deliberate course through our system, which implies something terrible. Where there is a path, there is a destination. Where there is a destination, there is intention. Where there is intention, there is a planner. Humanity may have witnessed not a random event, but the first step in a sequence we do not control. A sequence written by something that moves through the galaxy with a purpose older than our species. Our telescopes are waiting, our scientists are listening, but the universe, for now, remains silent. Silent and watching, because whatever Oumuamua truly was, it left us with one truth carved into the fabric of physics itself. Something out there has technology that breaks the laws we thought were unbreakable. Something out there can accelerate without force, change direction without fuel, disappear without a trace, and shut itself off like a device completing a task. And that leads to the final, unavoidable question. The question no scientist wants to ask, but every scientist is thinking. If something turned it off, who or what turned it on? But the silence didn't last forever. Months after Oumuamua vanished into the cold distance, new data began to surface, tiny anomalies buried in observations that seemed unrelated at first. Small deviations in background radiation, unusual fluctuations in deep space signal noise, flickers of movement captured in old survey images, the kind dismissed as errors for years. One by one, these forgotten clues resurfaced, and together they painted a picture far more ominous than a single visitor passing through our solar system. Because patterns began forming, patterns no one expected, patterns no one wanted to believe, astronomers noticed that Oumuamua's trajectory was not simply efficient, it was familiar. It echoed ancient orbital paths modeled in simulations of interstellar travel, routes designed for stealth, not exploration, vectors meant to minimize gravitational detection, as if Oumuamua had followed a blueprint, a protocol, something practiced, repeated, perfected. And then came the realization that chilled researchers to their core. The path Oumuamua followed was not unique. Other objects, dozens of them, had crossed similar angles centuries apart. Too faint to study then, too fast to track, too odd to classify, but they were there, scattered across old records like fingerprints of something passing through without being caught. Oumuamua wasn't a lone anomaly. It was part of a pattern. And patterns imply intent. Intent implies intelligence. Intelligence implies presence. This truth created a fracture within the scientific community. One side desperately clinging to explanations rooted in natural physics, the other side seeing the undeniable shape of something artificial. Not a ship, not necessarily a probe in the way we imagine, but technology, ancient, advanced technology drifting among the stars with a purpose we have never been invited to understand. Yet the question remained, if these objects have come before, why did we only detect Oumuamua? The answer surfaced slowly, like a nightmare rising to consciousness. Because for the first time in human history, our technology was advanced enough to notice it. We weren't ready earlier. We weren't capable earlier. We weren't watching earlier. Now we are, and maybe we weren't meant to be. The possibility began circulating inside closed scientific forums. What if the moment we detected Oumuamua, something else detected us? Observatories around the world reported strange interferences, short bursts of data corruption, unexplained resets in tracking systems, fragments of signals that didn't match satellites, pulsars, or cosmic background sources. Nothing consistent, nothing repeated, but nothing random either. It felt like a response. A quiet, distant acknowledgement. A whisper returning from a place we cannot see. And then, one night, the whisper grew louder. A deep space array recorded a single pulse of energy from the region Oumuamua had vanished toward. Not enough to decode, not enough to confirm, but enough to terrify. Because the frequency of that pulse matched something discovered once before, in the brief microsecond when Oumuamua shut down its reflective signature. It was the same heartbeat, the same silent code, the same presence. Scientists began running simulations to understand what kind of technology could behave like this. Natural explanations evaporated quickly. Nothing in astrophysics accounts for instantaneous brightness loss, persistent non-gravitational acceleration, and engineered proportions thinner than any rock could survive. What remained pointed to one conclusion: we are not observing nature, we are observing intention. One simulation, later suppressed from public release, suggested something even darker, that Oumuamua might have been in a dormant state when we found it. Inactive, silent, not powered, simply drifting, but when it approached the sun, it woke up. This possibility shook researchers, because sunlight activating an object is one thing, sunlight activating a device is another. The model proposed that the solar radiation pressure was not just pushing Oumuamua, it was powering it. Charging it, turning it from inert debris into an active probe. Meaning what we witnessed wasn't an object malfunctioning or decaying, it was something coming online. And once it came online, it accelerated. Like a machine resuming its mission. Like something receiving instructions. Like something completing a task and heading home. But this leads to the most disturbing possibility of all. What if Oumuamua wasn't gathering information? What if it was delivering something? Information? Coordinates? A signal? A confirmation of life? A confirmation of technological development? Or something more dangerous, a message saying simply, "We found them." This fear escalated when a classified analysis revealed something unsettling about Oumuamua's acceleration. It wasn't random. It wasn't even simply controlled. It matched a known mathematical pattern used in engineered navigation. A pattern only used to conserve energy across long-distance travel. In other words, Oumuamua was not just moving. It was optimizing. That is not something nature does. That is something technology does. Yet scientists remained quiet. They understood the implications too well. A natural object doesn't wake up. A natural object doesn't accelerate. A natural object doesn't optimize. A natural object doesn't shut itself off. Humans do not possess such technology. Nor do we know anyone, or anything, that does. The world remained unaware of the growing panic within observatories. The public went on with their lives. News cycles moved on to more comfortable topics. But behind locked doors, a question haunted every astrophysicist who studied the data. If something sent Oumuamua, when does the next one arrive? For months, telescopes scanned the skies. Not for comets, not for asteroids, but for any object moving too fast, too straight, too clean. And then they found it. A faint, distant object moving through the interstellar void with a suspiciously familiar trajectory. It was dim, nearly invisible, but its speed was wrong. Its path was wrong. Its behavior was, terrifyingly, similar. A second visitor, following a different angle, but headed toward the same region. Not a twin, not a repeat, a successor. The data is still incomplete. The object is still too far to classify. But astronomers studying it have already reached a quiet consensus. This is not random. Something is coming. Something is moving. Something is repeating a pattern older than our species. We do not know what these objects are. We do not know who created them. We do not know what they want. But we know this. They are not drifting. They are not wandering. They are not lost. They are following routes. They are following instructions. They are following purpose. And whether we are ready or not, the universe has already noticed us. Oumuamua was not a mistake. It was not an accident. It was not a visitor. It was a test of our awareness, a test of our detection capabilities, a test of whether we were watching. We watched, we measured, we reacted, and something out there reacted back. Now the sky is no longer silent. It is waiting, holding its breath, watching us watch it, and scientists, despite everything, are beginning to whisper the question that nobody wants to confront, not governments, not space agencies, not the public. If something turned Oumuamua on, if something sent it here, if something responded when it left, who, not what, is preparing to arrive next?